Welcome to the FTA catch-up on the VICTURE neckband, basic features and unexpected findings. I've been using the VICTURE neckband for a few weeks now, and I do have things to say. This video might be a bit lengthy in comparison to other videos I've posted so far, but I wanted to share my experience with those of you who might want to buy the VICTURE neckband. Also, learn from those of you who already have the VICTURE neckband. Please join me to discover some of the basic features of the VICTURE neckband, as well as a not very useful but interesting Easter egg or unexpected hidden feature towards the end of this video. Hardware navigation comes with 9 physical buttons to allow navigation while wearing the glasses. The buttons could be summarized as a settings button, an on and off button, a D-pad navigation, back button, and 3 shortcut buttons. Those 3 shortcuts physical buttons give you access to the AI assistant, the 3D video player, and the home screen. Something really convenient is that the direction of the D-pad ring could be configured to specify what each direction does. When I first looked at it, I thought it was going to take some time to get used to it, but after 5 minutes of navigating with it, it became second nature. Unlike the axial beam, the buttons are close to your body on the left side of your chest, so you have no visibility to them, and in order to navigate efficiently, you have to remember what each button does. This is particularly interesting because it's not often that we see new hardware that requires from us a very basic level of training. I was pleasantly surprised that was easier than I expected. Apart from this, there's the possibility to make the screen smaller to allow seeing the real world through the glasses by double tapping the physical settings button of the VICTURE neckband. The buttons might be noisy when you press them. This is really not ideal if you're trying to use the neckband while surrounded by other people in a library or in a quiet environment. Software navigation. VICTURE has tried to be creative, and they not only offer the traditional navigation via the D-pad hardware button on the left hand side of the VICTURE neckband, they also offer navigation via the head gaze navigation that can be enabled under the settings menu. When head navigation is enabled, you'll see a cursor that follows your head movements, so you can move around the screen faster by moving your head and then pressing the physical OK button to select the item under the cursor. In addition to this, there's an experimental pin mode that works nicely with the navigation buttons, but due to the nature of the head gaze navigation, it doesn't work well when head gaze is enabled. In fact, head gaze brings a few issues. It breaks the 3D video player, it breaks the pin mode, and it breaks typing. The pin mode is equivalent to the anchor mode for the axial beam. The good. The head gaze navigation is a blessing to navigate quickly around the main screen, change settings, or browse pages. The bad. The head gaze navigation is a curse when you're trying to use pin mode, or when you have to enter your credentials in the Amazon Prime or Netflix apps. An Android keyboard is brought up, but when you move the cursor, no matter what you do, it doesn't allow you clicking on any button of the keyboard, so you have to enter your email and password using the navigation buttons, which is not only slow but also very tedious. If there was something I would like to see fixed, would be precisely this. This video illustrates the keyboard issue. While in the welcome screen within the Amazon app, the keyboard popped up as seen on the screen with the letter Q pre-selected by default. Trying to click on the F results in several clicks on the Q until I use the navigation D-pad to reach the letter F. Then the same happens when I try to click backspace. It just ignores what is under the cursor. Android. apps. You can install different compatible Android apps directly from the Google Play Store, from the Visual Store, or via APK files. The Google Play Store would look similar to what it looks from your phone, but very limited in terms of showing compatible apps at the time of reviewing. The Visual Store has some basic apps that should be compatible with the neckband and are really easy to install. If none of the apps available satisfy your needs, then you always have the option to download the APK files and execute them directly, and it will install the app. As usual, remember to be careful when installing APK files from unknown sources. The good. One of the good things about the Visual neckband and the Android apps is that it has an easier way to install streaming related apps in comparison to the Xreal Beam. There's a web browser as well that allows you to download and install APK files. The bad. I couldn't get to work 3D videos via the YouTube app. If someone knows how, please leave a comment. Thanks very much. Also, some Android apps will make the neckband crash and it won't give you a warning. This is expected, but as Uncle Ben said, with great power comes great responsibility. So remember that. 3D video player. There's a video player that allows playing files saved in the neckband itself from your local network or from a compatible USB stick. Player supports 3D SBS video, and I didn't observe any blurry corners. The quality was really good, and I noticed you could play MKV video files that you have converted from Blu-ray or 3D Blu-ray, or simply you have obtained via other methods. In terms of the audio, you can either use speakers from the glasses or pair Bluetooth earphones with the neckband. The process was super simple and painless and worked fine for me, just as it does with any Android phone. The good. Something good about the video player is that it worked fine with an external USB disk, with an Apple memory reader, with a micro SD card. I tried different kinds of cards and they all worked. The bad. Something I didn't quite enjoy with the 3D video player, among other things, was the fact that it didn't work with the Asus ROG Arion M2 SSD enclosure. It was formatted with exFAT, but although I could see the electricity was passing and it seemed active, it just simply didn't work. Also, there is a bug or some sort of unintended effect in which just hovering over the local network option while connected to your Wi-Fi will result in waking up computers connected to the network. This is quite inconvenient if you have a Windows desktop hibernating or switched off connected to your local network. If this is your case, it is advisable to either disable the Wake on LAN or Wake up over LAN feature in the BIOS, or keep the Wi-Fi switched off in the neckband so that it doesn't try to connect to your local network. AI assistant. This looked promising, but it was a bit disappointing. The AI is advertised as a tool that could be used to get help while playing video games, but once you press the physical AI button, it brings an assistant that might take up to 1 minute to process your request.
I don't have real-time weather data. Please check a reliable weather forecasting service like the Met Office or a weather app for the most accurate information.
As you can see in this video, the audio and the text is also out of sync, and by the time the request is processed, a minute have passed, so maybe what you're looking at the screen, of course if you haven't paused the screen, is already outdated. I would expect that if you require some help with a particular part of a video game, you certainly will have to pause the screen. But either way, it doesn't really work even as a Google Assistant sort of thing. Very limited functionality, and to me it wasn't as fast as I expected. The good. The good about the AI assistant is that you have a quick access. It has a lot of potential in the future if you can attach some functionality to the AI assistant. The bad. The bad is what I just mentioned, that the AI assistant seemed experimental at the time of testing and a bit slow to respond to simple requests. Temperature. The VICHA neckband becomes significantly warmer on the right side where the USB-C port and the fan is. While watching a movie via streaming, it reached up to 44.8 Celsius, around 112 Fahrenheit, with an ambient or environment temperature of around 21 Celsius, around 69.8 Fahrenheit. The temperature wasn't enough to make me feel uncomfortable, and depending on the activity, the temperature could quickly go down. Battery life. While testing, I observed that enabling Bluetooth doesn't have much of an impact in terms of battery life, but leaving the Wi-Fi on while not in use does actually have an effect. This is expected but certainly not ideal, considering that you can enjoy a few extra minutes of usage with the Wi-Fi switched off. 60 minutes of playing 2D video would typically use around 40% of the battery. On the other hand, with the Wi-Fi enabled, the same 40% will have been used after just 53 minutes. In terms of the battery charge, it would typically take me around an hour to charge just 30% of the battery from, say, 3% until 33%. Overall, the battery might be okay to watch a full movie or a couple of episodes of your favorite series, but it will not allow you to watch more than that without requiring a charge. Noise. After the issue with the on-screen keyboard I mentioned earlier, this is my second serious issue, and it is that this neckband is noisy. There is an option to enter quiet mode, but the quiet mode takes a few seconds to kick in, and once it is effective, it is not really that quiet either. You do notice some improvement, but it is still noisy. Along with this, there's the sound that the physical buttons make. In quiet environments, this could be quite obvious, so in places like a library, the neckband will definitely not go unnoticed. Here's a sample sound from the noise produced by the VICHA neckband fan and buttons while watching a movie. Firmware upgrade. The default firmware that came with the neckband doesn't have support for the AI assistant, and it's also lacking an upgrade that improves the volume. So if you recently bought the VICHA neckband, you might want to upgrade the firmware. Applying the firmware system update from the neckband itself didn't work for me, but downloading the update.zip file from the VICHA website and following the instructions on the website solved the issue. The documentation to achieve this is quite clear and detailed, and it is one of the positive things about the neckband. The Easter egg. Apart from the usual Android Easter egg, there's another sort of Easter egg or hidden functionality to see the hidden experimental feature while in head-gaze navigation mode. Press the physical settings button, go to device preferences, and then click About. Once there, click a few times on the kernel version, and immediately after that, a next required option will be shown. When I saw this, I was like, great, I can make it quiet, but after enabling this option, the fan was exactly the same as it was before. I could see no difference, so I can only guess the VICHA is aware of the noise and there are plans, but this feature might not be available to the general public yet. Unexpected findings. Fail to start. When switching on the neckband, some white noise is displayed and nothing happens. It can be seen here in this video. I tried to debug this issue and I could see that the neckband was initialized. I could see it from the ADB tool while plugged to the computer, but from the VICHA XR Pro perspective, the neckband was just dead. This issue is easily solved by switching the neckband off and on again. Classic. not all choices are saved. Enabling the head gaze navigation or the USB host option doesn't seem to be saved after a restart, so every time you switch the feature neckband on, you will have to reselect those choices. On the other hand, the Wi-Fi enable or disable feature is saved. There seem to be a combination of settings that are permanent, that are saved after you restart the neckband, but other settings are just not saved. It would be nice to have some consistency across the different options. Summary. The Viture neckband offers an innovative way of carrying a companion hardware for the Viture XR Pro glasses. It is certainly fun to use, but sadly, the battery life and charging speed is not great. If you want to binge watch or use the neckband for extended periods of time, you need to be aware of this limitation. Unlike the Axial Beam, the Viture neckband doesn't support connecting to a TV or to the Xreal Air 2 Pro glasses. It is so far only compatible with the Viture XR glasses. The noisy fan is not a massive issue for me, but people wanting to use this in a quiet environment might not consider it ideal. If you already own the Viture neckband or you're planning to get it, what would you use the Viture neckband for? Please let me know in the comments. This is all for now. Hope you find some of this information useful. Don't forget to subscribe if you would like to get notifications whenever I have something to say about tech or audio in general. Thanks very much for watching and see you later.